They turned him into a joke.
Harry Maguire! Get rid of Harry Maguire! Get rid of Harry Maguire! He is shit!
Harry Maguire was by far the worst player on the pitch. 2 months later, 90.
Right then, let's talk about Harry Maguire.
You know, I know you have to have some filter when you talk on TV, but he's a shamble. We always talking about pairing him with someone, but what about taking him out of the squad?
My mobility is a bit better than Maguire and Evans, isn't it, at the moment? But did you have a little bit of sympathy for Maguire when he came on? And yes, sorry.
He's very lucky. He's very lucky that Gareth Southgate is so loyal, because he shouldn't be anywhere near the England squad. Harry Maguire.
You don't think he should?
No.
The guy is an absolute clown every time he comes on the pitch. Just looking at him, he just don't look like a footballer. Let's just be real with it.
It began as laughter and ended as a kind of public punishment. Clips looped on repeat, slow-motion errors became shorthand for everything people thought was wrong with a great club. His face, his run, the way he fell, all of it became material for memes. But laughter is not always harmless. When jokes grow louder and hate grows darker, we witnessed a human get placed under a microscope just for the clicks.
What I've seen with certainly Harry Maguire, it's gone really too far.
This is not a simple tale of glory or failure. It is a living book of patience and quiet dignity. Harry Maguire started where many great English players started, the local pitches. Forged in Sheffield, where the working class teaches a boy early that football is not only skill, it's grit and habits. He learned to carry a team from the back, to use his body, to win aerial duels, and to keep going when things got rough. That upbringing was simple and clear. Show up, work, and be dependable. It made him tough, not flashy. A steady climb followed. He earned a chance at Hull and Wigan, and then Leicester saw something they wanted to build around. At Leicester, he became more than a reliable defender. He became someone who played every single minute of a full Premier League season, and then earned the club's Best Player award for that year. That season showed that Maguire could handle long runs, heavy expectations, and constant pressure on performance. The 2018 World Cup arrived, and with it, a call-up that changed everything. In Russia, Harry Maguire rose for a header against Sweden and scored the kind of goal that shifts careers. He played every match, stood tall in the biggest moments, and suddenly, the world saw not only a big league defender, but a national rock. That tournament stamped him as a player for the highest stage. And the big clubs noticed that. In 2019, Manchester United paid the record fee of £80 million to outbid all the interested clubs. The price was enormous, and it carried a new kind of pressure that had nothing to do with tackles or positioning. It was about a number on a page that woke millions of opinions. Every move he made would now be compared to that number. His name arrived with a headline and a weight, and coming up was his Premier League debut against Chelsea. You'd seen many players' knees shaking in a game like that, but not Harry. United won 4-0 with a masterclass from their record-breaking signing. He answered the critics early. He played almost every game. He was relentless on minutes, the kind of player you could point at and say this man never hides. His early days in United were brilliant, and it looked like he might be the right guy for the mission in hand. Across club and country, he logged thousands of minutes that first year. He gave himself to the team in ways that are rare. He became captain. Ole gave him the armband because he wanted a voice and a presence, someone to marshal the back line, and Harry looked like he was born to lead that team. Then, the cracks arrived. Football was shut down completely for months. However, just before the restart of the Premier League, Harry Maguire endured one of the darkest nights in his life during a vacation in Greece. He was in Greece enjoying life with his family and friends, but after a night out, when they were about to enter the car and go home, a bystander came out of nowhere to inject his sister with an unknown substance. Maguire got in a fight with the two men, which caught the police's attention, who approached an allegedly abusive Maguire, who started cussing at the police. That altercation escalated and led to Maguire being found guilty of repeated bodily harm, attempted bribery, violence against public employees, and insult. To this day, nobody knows what happened there exactly, but it seems that Maguire and his family survived a kidnapping attempt. Traumatizing, right? What adds salt to the wound is that the Greek court's ruling, which sounds hella sketchy, was a headline that reached England. Harry Maguire assaulted the police in Greece. Nobody was interested in Maguire's version of the story. From Greece to a restarting Premier League in light of the pandemic. On the 4th of October 2020, Harry Maguire produced an absolute disaster class of a performance in a 6-1 loss to Spurs, just 2 months after the Greece incident. That was the day Maguire fell into the lap of the media, starting with a hot-headed Patrice Evra, who absolutely tore through him right after the game. And from that moment forward, Maguire became the media's favourite victim after every United defeat, and trust me when I say, there were a lot of those. A series of nights, errors and media cycles that made each mistake louder than the last. United itself was changing too. New coaches, new systems, expectations that did not match reality. The team struggled, and when a team collapses, the world looks for a face to blame. Often it's easier to blame one person than admit a system failed. Harry felt that collapse like a physical thing pressing on his chest. Once, errors were simply match incidents, but television replays, pundit panels, and social media turned those incidents into a story about a man with a big head and slow legs. The memes arrived like a second tide, relentless, mocking, and electric. A single joke became 1,000 jokes. Maguire was no longer a footballer, he became a walking fridge, a walking meme. Fans who once chanted his name switched to booing softly and then loudly, until the sound grew into a storm. The abuse invaded places no one should touch, like family and safety. It got darker than ridicule.
This is worrying news because Harry Maguire, we're learning, has received a bomb threat to his home.
In April 2022, after a heavy defeat, Maguire received a bomb threat at his home. Police searched his property while his family were moved for safety. That moment reminded everyone that words and jokes on a screen can become real danger. The crowd that once loved a player could be a force that crosses the line. Amongst all that, the public saw legal troubles abroad that left long shadows. The case, the appeal, the tabloid frenzy turned private misery into a public lecture. The headline that stuck changed how people framed him. It made him smaller in the eyes of many. On the field, the mistakes were real. Some nights he looked like a captain. Some nights he looked lost. It is uncomfortable and honest to say that he had rough games. Old Trafford saw huge humiliations and results that stole sleep from the fans' eyes. People in the stands and on TV had their say. Pundits called him out, and while some analysis was fair, some attacks crossed the line into mockery and personal insult. That mixture is poisonous because it blurs the difference between critique and cruelty. Roy Keane, like many, had sharp words. Defenders of Maguire were rare but principled. Even so, the dominant theme was punishment. Every mistake spun into a viral moment. At the same time, Maguire remained silent. He never hit back, never returned the abuse to anybody. He just kept training and showing up with no fear every time he gets called up, whether it's from the bench or as a starter. The man who got slammed online still produced moments of real impact, match-winning headers, crucial blocks, and leadership in the locker room. Then something quite remarkable happened.
Harry Maguire, captain from Manchester United, straight into West Ham.
Why do you look so happy that he's leaving?
When the offers came to snatch him away from all that pain, he didn't leave. West Ham reportedly bid seriously in 2024. Many players in his position might see a transfer as a way to reset. New club, new fans, a chance to leave the record and the mockery behind. Harry stayed. He turned down that move and chose to fight for his place. That decision tells you something about the man, about his stubbornness, his loyalty, or his belief. Call it what you like, but Harry showed a willingness to accept the uncomfortable truth that he needed to earn his minutes, not buy them. That choice was not easy by any means. When Ten Hag decided to make him a bench warmer, Harry took it with grace. He kept training, he kept preparing. For weeks, he watched. Yet life in football is fragile and full of sudden openings. Injuries came for others. He was called back with a new chance to get his life back in his hands. He walked into a few games and looked really solid. But the true pivot came on a Champions League night at Old Trafford. A must-win group stage game against FC Copenhagen. The scoreline was tied until the 72nd minute, when Maguire climbed above everyone else, headed the ball into the net, and Old Trafford erupted. That goal was a shout saying, "I am here. I'm still alive." Minutes later, a penalty sealed the victory. The same fans who had mocked him months earlier were chanting his name. It was a sudden reversal, yes, but it was the kind of small drama football gives us. The fridge was Manchester United's saviour for the night. Redemption in football is rarely clean. It is a slow climb of small positives building on each other. After that Champions League night, fans began to see him differently. They still joked, but the tone changed. That shift did not come because one goal fixed everything. It came because a player kept acting with dignity and because he kept delivering in moments when the team needed him. Yes, Maguire had some few other miserable nights later, but his behaviour was exemplary as he continued to face inhuman levels of hate. Maguire's face, his head, his style of defending all became meme material, a cultural phenomenon that flattened someone into a single and repeatable consumable idea. For the man inside the meme, you're no longer a person with context, you're a punchline. These things matter because public opinion affects selection, sponsorships, the locker room vibe, and how referees and opponents talk to you. And yet, despite the memes, the threats, the legal clouds, and the pundit targeting, he kept going onto the same grass. He trained, he led, he apologized when needed, he spoke honestly about how painful things were. He admitted mistakes and took responsibility. He never staged a public meltdown. He didn't go on social media to fight back. He chose the harder route. Do your job, earn your place back, and let performances speak louder than words. That is a quiet heroism. It is not flashy, and it rarely makes headlines, but it is the architecture of a comeback. In the dressing room, people who know him speak differently than outsiders. Teammates call him funny, loyal, and a voice who keeps things steady. He may not be the loudest leader, but his presence matters. At the end of the day, United's troubles were bigger than one player. Managers changed, systems were inconsistent, transfers failed, the club atmosphere was toxic. In such a volatile environment, mistakes are amplified and no player can be truly stable unless the club itself provides stability. That mid-level truth helps us understand that even when a player looks like the problem is also the context. That does not excuse mistakes, but it is a realism the public often forgets. So what's changed now? Well, Maguire has risen from the ashes. A heroic goal against Lyon last season to seal one of the most iconic comebacks the Old Trafford has ever seen. A late goal at Anfield to end United's streak of humiliations and losses against the Kop. Harry Maguire became a symbol of hope, a true believer of the Fergie time and a hero to be chanted for. That shows a man that did not surrender to ridicule. Big nights do not erase the past, they add chapters that complicate it. That complexity is the point. Life is not a single act, and redemption is not a single event. It is daily, quiet work, and occasional moments of glory. Harry Maguire woke up every day to change, refusing to accept the narrative that ridicules and scapegoats him. And you know what, Harry? Hats off to you, lad. For me, Maguire is truly inspirational, and whenever I hear the word redemption now, he'll be my first thought. We must also be honest about what that redemption costs. It costs privacy. It costs patience. It costs the mental work of facing a crowd that often is cruel by habit. It costs the family worrying about threats and the relentless replay of mistakes on loop. For every happy chant, there is a private night of doubt. But those personal costs do not always show in stats or highlight reels. They matter for the human person standing at the center. And we definitely need to have a serious look at ourselves in the mirror, because who knows how many Maguires are out there that didn't have Harry's resilience and were overwhelmed by the abuse. Footballers are rich, yeah, they have great lives. That's true also, but that doesn't mean they're not human at the end of the day. Many players left in similar situations. Many would have taken the move and found new life. Some would have been praised. Maguire's decision to stay is not necessarily the only right path, but it is the path that shows stubbornness and belief in self. A man scoring a late header and seeing the crowd roar his name again is not just a statistic. It is a social currency, passing from ridicule to respect in one loud breath. That roar matters because it rewrites a memory. It shows that even the harshest public can change its tune if given reason. And reasons were given. Reliable defending, crucial goals, leadership in the dressing room, and steadfastness when leaving would have been the comfortable option. Do not let the memes fool you into thinking the whole story is simple. Harry Maguire's story is full of contradictions. Heroic one day, ridiculed the next. The captain who lost his armband. The national team rock who was booed by fans. Those contradictions make the story human. They make him real. They make it worth telling. So what do we want to say in all of this? We need to give Maguire his flowers. Imagine the quiet nights. The man alone in the gym, replaying mistakes over and over in his head. The man watching match footage and thinking about a single wrong step. The man sitting with family as police check his home after a threat. the man choosing to stay when he could have left. Those things are not dramatic in headlines, but they explain the trajectory. Those choices make the goal at Old Trafford or the calm pass under pressure not merely technical success, but signs of endurance. This is a story about a player who lived inside extremes. The highest price, the harshest mockery, the darkest threats, and the brightest comebacks. It is not a perfect story. It is not about proving critics wrong with a single goal. It is a long, complicated arc that asks us to feel and think. He went through hell. He kept showing up. He built himself back step by step. In the end, whether you love him or still doubt him, this man taught one lesson clearly, which is to never give in. Keep your head down when headlines scream, and let the game itself offer the final judgment. For Harry Maguire, the game began to offer that judgment again. The chants grew, the fans noticed, the critics still exist, but the story moved from the fridge to the saviour. This is his redemption. Not final, but satisfying.